Welcome back to another episode of The Curious Consumer. I'm Nate.
I'm Jenna.
And we are going to introduce ourselves because we have not been doing that on these podcast episodes. So Jenna, tell the audience who we are.
Who the heck are we?
I don't know.
So we write a newsletter called Express Checkout, send it out twice a week, and Express Checkout covers all things consumer packaged goods and retail. So whenever there's news about your grocery store, whenever there's news about a new snack brand or supplement or beverage coming out with a cool product, we're covering that. Skincare. We're covering that. We're in your inboxes. Yeah, I've been talking to people recently a lot about what CPG even means. And it's such a confusing thing to summarize. But technically, we'll cover any packaged good that, this is my favorite definition. As you use it, it runs out. So not tech, because tech doesn't run out. Not furniture, not fashion, but we do cover skincare.
Yes, beauty, skincare, all CPG goods. I always say anything you can find in a grocery store, we are most likely covering it.
But it's fun, and we love it, and we're passionate about it, and we've been doing it for a hot minute, and now this is the audio version, something for everyone. So we've been recording episodes weekly, but last week was the first week that we didn't in a little bit because we took a very well-deserved out of office, had a lovely trip upstate with your wife, who deserved it even more than you because she's a resident.
I agree. But I did go to some shoppy shops up in Hudson and some other areas in the Catskills. I saw Sam Smith at the Maker Hotel.
That is such a great celeb sighting. It really is.
I know. They're so tall. We should start with our first story today, which, Jenna, I know you have opinions. I have opinions. The internet has opinions. Tell us about Rini.
Oh boy, are the opinions rampant. So this is something that we covered last week, and I was so like, oh my God, Nate, we need to have a podcast this week, despite you being out of office, because there was so much to say about it. But basically, Rini is a new brand that launched last week by Shay Mitchell, who you might know as an actress. She was in Pretty Little Liars. She also is now a multi-time founder because she has a luggage brand called Base Luggage, which is really beloved, I would say. And
yeah, they have good stuff, honestly.
Yeah, like so she launched a new quote-unquote skincare and play product brand for, quote, growing faces aged 3 and up. The first product that they came out with is a mask, like a sheet mask. It's a Korean skincare sheet mask for kids aged 3 and up. As you can imagine, this got the people going because 3-year-olds shouldn't need to be worrying about skincare. So I stalked their website, all of the posts about it. The thesis of it was we should create products for kids who are already looking at what their mom is doing and they're like, I want to do that too. So if their mom is someone who uses sheet masks, a mom might not want their 3-year-old to use the same sheet masks that they're using because maybe it has a retinol or something in it that's not safe for kids. So this is a safe for kids play product for skin. The problem with that, though, is that it commoditizes something that just didn't need to be commoditized. There's already a solution to this. You don't have to hand your kid the sheet mask that you're using. You could, your kid has an amazing imagination. They can like smear some avocado on their doll and they're like, oh my God, my doll is wearing a face mask. Or they you hand them a cotton pad with some water on it and they pretend to use it as a face. Like, play is so important. And when we start commoditizing play and making kids consumers at younger and younger ages, that is what the internet was really upset about and what I also am upset about.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have an issue with products designed and formulated for sort of a young and growing face and skincare and whatever it is. That's not the issue that we have here. That's kind of inherently a good thing that everybody is just sort of different skins, so it's good there's something, but there's also some premiumization level to this that I also don't think needs to exist. I think to your point of play, it's why doesn't this look that fun? It just looks high end for a kid.
100%. You can't say that it's play and also call it the first ever hydrogel mask. That's not, a kid can't even pronounce that.
I can barely pronounce that.
I completely agree. There's a difference between creating products for kids. There's nothing wrong with that. Like baby lotion needs to exist for a reason. Kids have more
Yeah.
sensitive skin. That is a separate issue from creating something that feels a little too adult for a kid and again creates a problem that wasn't there.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like, look, sheet masks are not the most environmentally friendly product either, and like there are reusable sheet masks out there. Experiment makes a silicone based one. If you really need to get your kid a sheet mask, maybe get that one. That's like also just not wasting product that goes into the trash anyways.
So fair. Yeah, so it definitely blew up the internet. It'll be interesting to see, first of all, if people do end up buying this brand. I almost feel bad in a way. I don't know why I feel bad for a brand, but I do. That they didn't launch with some of their other products because it looks like there's some stuff in the works that might have been more well received. They have these, for lack of a better term, like makeup sticks. They look like giant crayons that are safe for kids to use as play makeup. I actually think that's not a terrible idea. They look more playful. They don't look like they're trying to pretend to be a more adult. Like a sheet mask looks like a very adult product that it's like trying to be.
Yeah.
Whereas like these like makeup sticks don't look like actual makeup. They look kind of like giant crayons that are safe for kids to use on their face. Right. I think if they had launched with that, again, it like might have been more well received because it is playful. But launching with the mask just really like set the wrong tone for the brand generally.
Yeah. I think people have calmed down a bit, and I think people will forget about this until they sort of launch again, or the product starts shipping, or it starts hitting stores. I'm just like, one of my biggest issues with kids these days, not issues
not
with
the
kids,
brand, with the kids,
with the kids in general. No, it's like I feel like kids are not allowed to be young and imaginative and have a world filled with color and fun things. Like the adult stuff is starting to shift younger and younger, and it's really weird to me. The kids not just having like fun, colorful products anymore, and it's all this like muted beige coloring that like adults have, that Skims has. Like kids should have fun products. It doesn't need to all look so nice.
It's like fitting an aesthetic of the adult as opposed to yeah. And like kids shouldn't need to fit any aesthetic. They should just like be messing around. My first thought actually when I saw this was like I can't recommend this to parents or their kids, but I feel like the closest thing I can think of having done as a kid to a sheet mask was like literally going in my backyard and smearing mud on my face. Like
it's great for your gut biome and whatever. That's absolutely good. You should do that.
My immune system is better because of it. Yeah. And it's just fun and silly, and you like that's how you learn. You don't learn by being a perfect child. Anyway, we can't really, neither of us are parents, so like there's only
I have
so
a 2-year-old dog, not a child.
Doesn't count, unfortunately. Yeah, there's only so much we can say on it, but
I would love to hear like some of the parents in our audience what their thoughts on this are, and what their thoughts in general are on like raising a kid in 2025 is, because there's so many more factors at play that shift how kids are being perceived and how kids perceive themselves. Like I want to know what people with kids think about this product and about just kids products in general, and how a lot of more like a mature look is sort of skewing younger and younger.
Yeah.
When I don't think it should, but I'm very curious to hear what some parents think about all this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would love to hear from that. Yeah, so we have a right to be upset, but maybe not as much as a parent would. But one thing I have a full right to be upset about is the other thing I went on a rant about in last week's newsletter.
No, it's I can't believe this is like a real thing.
Nate leaves me to do the newsletter by myself, and I just go on like rants.
It just happened to be that like there were like multiple stories that deserved a rant.
Yeah, no, that's true. So the story that deserved a rant this time was that Monster debuted a new energy drink for women. And it's called Flirt. Immediately no.
The taglines are kind of infuriating. Love at first sip.
Mm-hmm.
Meet your new crush in a can. And there's some other like copy on this site that I'm like,
no,
who wrote
my
this?
least favorite was the call to action at the bottom, which was, let us slide into your inbox with details on our hard launch.
Did a 50-year-old man write this? Like, it's
so,
concerning.
I'll just actually read what I said, which was, I am so offended by this branding, which at best is wildly cringe, and at worst reduces female consumers to mere objects of romantic interest. What, the way that we attract women is by calling something flirt? Are you serious? Like, that's all? Yeah.
No.
Crush in a can. Bad.
Crush in a can. There's also some other language on here that I'm like, wow, they're just trying to do all the trendy, like, women leaning things. They're like, supports collagen, boosts collagen, supports skin and hair health. Energy drink should be vibrant, fearless, and fun as the woman who drink it. What also like got me about this is that if Monster was really gunning for the female consumer and a woman who drinks an energy drink that feels like it's for them, there are brands on the market that exist that they could have tapped into, that they could have done what Nutrabolt did. Nutrabolt, who owns C4, which I'm drinking right here, they put a lot of money into Bloom Nutrition, which is most likely a very big female audience. Like, they could have done something like that and supported an upstart brand or a female started brand like Orgy.
Yeah. I'm like, what does it actually mean to be a female energy drink brand? Because again, in theory, any energy drink could be a female energy drink brand.
Yeah.
I think the one argument for something that is more feminine leaning might be a female founded brand, sure. And if they want to support a female founded brand, like what you said, that's fair. Otherwise, and we talked about this on our energy drink episode, the ingredients are probably exactly the same. Whatever supporting collagen, whatever supporting hair, skin, and nails, I am almost positive it's in whatever is already in Monster. They just are changing the messaging. So if you want your product to speak to women more, don't like reduce it to like, oh, here's something women can understand. The word flirt with no vowels in it. Like, come on.
No, it like comes, I think it comes off as, yeah. And that like a female consumer is dumb, which is like, that's, first of all, most consumers statistically happen to be women. So it's like, where is this logic coming from? Like, what is happening?
The other thing that's condescending about it is the actual aesthetic of it is like quite juvenile, and it feels like it's juvenile on purpose. Like, it looks like a kid drew the packaging. And I think that is, as a concept, not a bad design concept. But again, when you're like, oh, we're trying to speak women, so we're going to make this a little flower with kids' handwriting. Like, what's that? That feels so condescending. Also, the flavors, strawberry fling. Because it's romantic, it's a fling. Very tempting. Are you
that
kidding
one?
me?
I couldn't.
No, it's like, also we have vibrant energy as opposed to what? Like, it makes me so mad. I'm gonna stop there. But the point being, and I like what, like, besides me just being angry about it, your more like logical take on it is so accurate too. That just like Monster could have just bought a brand that already exists, that's already doing a better, more authentic job of reaching female consumers,
or taking a minority stake, whatever. There's like there's also like, it's just alongside just being belittling to women, there's just an easier way to do this.
Yes. Yeah. Why are you making it hard on yourself? It's funny.
It's so funny, but this is not the last thing we have to say on energy drinks, because there is a lot going on with energy drinks right now. And luckily, you'll see why, pun intended, there are some other brands doing interesting things, like Lucky Energy, which was called Lucky Fuck Energy, and you didn't know this?
No.
Yeah, it was called Lucky Fuck. And I think they like it was a star instead of the U, but it was called Lucky Fuck for a while, and then they rebranded after they launched to Lucky Energy.
Wow.
Same branding, actually. They just taped over where it used to say fuck on the can.
Oh, I thought the tape was just like the aesthetic. I like it. It's cool.
No, this tape
That's
is
really funny.
to cover up a naughty
Wait,
word.
the story is that the founder survived a plane crash.
I mean, don't we all?
Like one of the only survivors of a plane crash.
That's insane.
And so he was like, I have to do something with my life. And I think I can't remember all the details, but launched an energy drink brand called Lucky Fuck, apparently.
Well, he is one lucky fuck. They just raised $25 million, which is crazy.
That's a big number, and we've just been seeing a lot of money going into energy.
Yeah, and the energy drink market is really interesting because like there's clear category leaders: Red Bull, Monster, and Celsius. Celsius, who also owns Alani Nu as of recently, but there's a lot of other brands who are starting to, in no way, get close to the numbers that Red Bull and Celsius and Monster are doing, but are starting to make some waves here. Which there's Dr. Huberman's new brand, Matena. It's a new clean energy yerba mate based brand. They just launched it at Whole Foods. Gorgie has been growing really fast. They also raised a $25 million round this year. Obviously, Alani Nu, which is now owned by Celsius, they surpassed $1 billion in retail sales a year. So they're going crazy. Monster obviously is releasing Flirt.
Monster. Whatever.
And we asked our friend Mark Gallo, who I have always described as the beverage guy. If you need a guy to tell you about how the beverage industry works, you talk to Mark Gallo. This man is a beverage magician.
He's a guru.
He's a guru.
Sure. Yeah.
He told us his title, which he gave us, is the orchestrator of beverages, which I also very much love. But we asked Mark about this sort of new wave of energy and why there's even still room for new energy drinks in this world and still a growing category. And he was basically saying the energy drink category is having their craft beer moment, which I thought was a really interesting way to describe it. So I'm just going to read his quote. So Mark said that new energy drink brands like Lucky are quietly filling structural gaps in distributor portfolios. So apparently for years, energy drinks have had high velocity, but it's a very narrow category. So dominated by a very select few legacy brands like Red Bull and Monster, but very little flexibility on pricing, placement, and innovation. So distributors carried a lot of volume, but not always a lot of variety. So now these emerging brands are stepping in to fill that gap. And I think that is such an interesting insight and take, because oftentimes when we get these takes and when people talk about the space, why something is growing and why something is sustaining, it is always from the marketing lens, strictly the marketing lens. And we always kind of ignore like, okay, but the people who are like deciding what goes into stores and are moving the products around, how is that working? How are they playing into this? So the distributors basically needing other options on shelf besides the staple energy drinks is a really interesting insight that I haven't seen anybody really talk about. And it makes a lot of sense too. Like there are very few brands that control a lot of the market. If you look at 52-week sale data, it's Red Bull, it's Celsius, it's Monster. And then there's like Prime is up there, which is really impressive to be honest. But Campbell's Soup is actually up there because they own V8 Energy. Is apparently one of the top selling energy drinks in the country. Is V8.
I want to see like the geographical data on that. I'm like, where in the country are we drinking V8? In my head, I'm like, it's Wisconsin. I have no data to prove that. I'm like, for sure it's Wisconsin.
Which is like cheese and tomato juice go really well together. I
think that's where my brain went, actually.
Your brain makes sense. But the insight's interesting.
The insight's really interesting. And the comparison to craft beer is also really interesting, especially because it's in another beverage category. Just like the way the beverage moves is different than the way that snacks move on shelf, especially refrigerated beverages. Like there are only so many slots in any retailer for a refrigerated beverage of any kind. And so they don't, I mean, distributors, if you go into any 7-Eleven, you'll see a ton of facings of like the same few brands in energy in a way that I think he's totally right. You don't really see that in other categories in the same way. There's a lot more variety. And what's interesting to me about energy too is I do feel like existing brands have done a really great job of creating new SKUs. I think it's really easy to innovate on flavor.
Yeah.
So they have like 1,000 different facings of Celsius, which comes in every possible flavor, but they don't have new brands. And as much as we don't necessarily need a new brand if there are new flavors, consumers want variety.
Right. Which is why like Gorgie is seeing success, and now all these different yerba mate brands. People are seeking something new and different. Not flirt, but
well, I mean, I actually think as much as I'm obviously so mad about flirt, that is very validating that a company like Monster, which has all of the money in the world, I'm sure, to do consumer research, was like, we actually need another sub-brand.
Right.
What that actually indicates is not that we need another sub-brand, but that we just need new brands.
We need variety, as Mark was saying. And obviously it's annoying that Monster, with all the distribution power and money, could just stomp on them, but
they can't because they do it poorly.
Exactly. And this is where the marketing side comes into play, where it's like Gorgie's a lot better at building a very strong and authentic consumer base, where like Monster might have a hard time with flirt because for 2+ decades they've been targeting bros who buy their product at a gas station rather than the Gorgie consumer. And now Unwell, Alex Cooper's hydration beverage, they launched a limited edition single SKU energy drink in a can. And they did cranberry, which is, as I texted you the other day, I never noticed that was such a prominent seasonal flavor until this year when everybody was coming out with the cranberry.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like a seasonal flavor, I think more from a culinary standpoint. Like people are all making their cranberry recipes, but I haven't really seen this many cranberry flavored limited edition SKUs as I have this year. But I feel like Unwell is kind of just trying a bunch of things on because I don't think they're doing very well. I mean, I don't have the numbers to prove that.
I would love for somebody, Alex Cooper, please send us your sales data. We would love to dig into that.
I think that's what that's giving to me is like, okay, we're going to try hydration. We don't know about that. And then they tried a protein drink and they're like, I don't know. Let's try energy. Like they're having an identity crisis, it appears.
Yeah. I kind of feel that energy could really win consumers over.
I think they should have started with energy and not hydration.
Yeah. It looks good. Let's go to our next little story. Kind of a big story. Whole Foods, Amazon, they're doing so many different things.
Yeah.
I think we should start with the store within a store test that they're doing in a Philly suburb, in the Philly area, where they're testing like Amazon pickup and ordering within the store, which is really interesting. I know you had some takes on that.
I had some takes on it. So they're calling it a micro fulfillment center, MFC. And they are basically, as Nate said, a store within a store. So a pickup counter in Whole Foods where you can pick up Amazon products that aren't otherwise carried on Whole Foods shelves.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the example in the press release was like, if you're shopping at Whole Foods, you can also pick up your goldfish, which goldfish are not offered on Whole Foods shelves because Whole Foods has very strict ingredient standards. And that's kind of like their whole thing is that they don't allow, even on a Whole Foods bag, it says on the back, like all of the ingredients that they don't allow in a Whole Foods store. And there's so much trust that they have earned with their consumers by being this company that doesn't allow a lot of ingredients that consumers don't want in their food. So it's really interesting to me. Basically, they're saying, like, oh, it's great because you can do your entire grocery shop in one place. So you can
Right.
get your Whole Food stuff and you can still get the things that you would get at a conventional grocery store all in one place. The thoughts I have on it, I mean, like, yeah, convenience is king. This is great in some
Yeah.
ways. But if you're still saying you can purchase all of these things at a Whole Food store, it's kind of losing the one differentiator that it had from
Yeah.
conventional stores.
Yeah.
And the comparison I was talking about with you, Nate, earlier was it feels a little bit like a CVS, where it's like you can't get your prescription drugs on shelves, but you can get it in the back of the store where you go to the prescription counter and you pick it up. And this is like the same thing. It's like, oh no, we still won't allow those things on our shelves. You have to, like, you can't get goldfish over the counter, but
Right.
you can go to the back of the store and pick up your prescription or your Amazon order. And it's all in one place still. And so it's like, to be like, well, Whole Foods still doesn't allow it, but it does because it's in the back of the store.
Right. And they still give brands a hard time about what's in their
Yes.
products if they have a certain type of sweetener or a certain type of whatever it is. I, it what Amazon is trying to do with Whole Foods and their grocery business at large, it's clear that like recently they've started to sort of solidify a strategy. I don't know what the strategy fully is, but they're solidifying something.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they acquired Whole Foods years and years ago at this
Years ago.
point for a lot of money, and it feels like only recently, now that they've sort of they haven't been so sure what to do with like their Amazon Fresh stores and their Amazon grocery business, that now they're like, oh right, we have Whole Foods, we can do a bunch with this thing.
Yeah.
Like it's funny how long it took. Um, but now they're doing a lot. They're opening more of those daily shop locations, the small, like under 10,000 square foot storefronts, which they opened one up in the Upper East Side, in September of 24. I went to the opening. It was very fun. But apparently, and this is data from Whole Foods, that 42% of its shoppers over pretty much the year that they were open were new or re-engaged customers who hadn't visited any of the other New York City Whole Foods locations during that same period, the previous year. And look, a New York consumer and a New York grocery experience is a weird one. Like, let's be honest. So those, I don't know if the Daily Shop or anything would work in other cities, because New York, those big Whole Foods around New York, it's great because they're basically a normal grocery store. They're just big and it becomes tedious. And I wonder if just like the Daily Shop is just easier for quick pickups, in and out, even just like more consistent shopping, which is like what a New Yorker generally does if they're not doing Fresh Direct or an Instacart delivery, because you're just so close to all of these. And it's like it's so much easier just to go in and out rather than to go to a big
Yeah, it's
grocery
like
store.
bodega adjacent,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
a language that New Yorkers speak very fluently. I mean, yeah, the truth is, like, we love Whole Foods, and I think that's
Yeah,
part of why I'm like, don't fix what isn't broken.
right.
um,
Right. And like
yeah,
if they want to become mass, then Amazon, just launch Amazon Fresh. But the thing
as a
is,
grocery store, yeah,
as a grocery store, one of the reasons I think Amazon Fresh didn't work is because I think a lot of consumers don't fully care about the new technology call outs. They just want to go to a grocery store. They don't want to pay that much money. They want it to be easy. I think Amazon Fresh was leaning a lot into the tech side of that grocery store. And I think for a lot of consumers, that is just not top of mind. And especially
hmm,
now, I think people care about price and the types of food they're getting.
yeah,
And leaning into that aspect of Whole Foods is like really interesting. And I think the benefit that Whole Foods can get from Amazon, which I've been seeing, is better prices.
oh
It's
yeah,
it doesn't feel like it's whole paycheck anymore. And I don't know if that perspective is just me shopping around New York, and a lot of local New York grocery stores are ridiculously expensive. But um, I have noticed at Whole Foods that they've been like emphasizing sales and deals more, and the prices have become a little bit more reasonable, which is, I think, good, because pairing that with Whole Foods' whole vision on the ingredient profiles and being very deliberate about what types of products they put on shelves, I think is a beautiful pairing to get more people into eating better.
Yeah, I agree. If it was just like they maintain all the same standards, but the prices are cheaper, like, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like the most sustainable business model, but I think, yeah, I don't know if an Amazon Fresh would work simply because consumers don't associate Amazon with like quality food. Like it just takes so much, which is why buying Whole Foods in the first place was a really smart move. I mean, I don't need to tell
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos that he's smart. He knows. But like it was a
It's got
smart
that big
move,
head.
but it's really easy to mess it up too because
It is.
it was the kind of thing that it's like, okay, buy Whole Foods, but like keep it as it is. It's doing just fine.
Yeah.
And the more they're messing with it, the more that it feels like it's putting Whole Foods reputation at stake. And
Right.
also Whole Foods employees, like there just have been a lot of layoffs and it's just a tough time from the outside looking in to be affiliated with Whole Foods. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. And now they're integrating all of their 100,000 plus Whole Foods employees, both corporate and frontline at the store, sort of into Amazon's own internal systems, and they're solidifying that back end operations, which I'm very curious to see how that'll go. Alongside like the Whole Foods CEO becoming VP of Amazon grocery stores worldwide. So they're starting to have a little bit more of a strategy and a plan. I'm really curious to see where Whole Foods goes over the next few years, especially with Amazon's fingers all over it.
Absolutely. Yeah. The next story we wanted to cover actually is like kind of related.
Kind of related.
It's kind of related. Basically,
would Whole
like
Foods sell? No, Whole Foods wouldn't sell these products.
I don't think so, but a conventional product trying to appeal to the more like natural shopper. The news is that PepsiCo, who owns Doritos and Cheetos, is launching a naked version with no vowels.
Of course.
Screw vowels. Screw vowels.
It's very startup vibe coded.
Oh, startups in like 2010.
No, exactly. Yes, it's very late.
New line called Simply Naked, which is Doritos and Cheetos without any artificial flavors or dyes. Apparently they are completely colorless but taste the same, which I don't even believe that's possible because I know what blue Cool Ranch tastes like and I taste blue and I want to taste
Yes. Same with I taste Flaming Hot. It needs to have that color.
It needs to. But they're going to be available December 1st. So it's the nacho cheese Cool Ranch Doritos and then Flamin' Hot Cheetos also are not going to have any artificial flavors or dyes.
We talked about this in the newsletter, but like, who specifically is this for? Because we were talking about the dye-free crowd is probably also this anti-processed foods crowd. And then like you and I who, well, I consume everything. I'm having a freaking C4 right now. It's a sour gummy splash if the listeners are curious.
Which
for
is
the flavor.
all natural flavors.
But yeah, we're just like, who specifically is this for? This is mostly just like, this is really just a marketing stunt. Also,
I don't know if it's a marketing stunt because I mean, I agree. I don't know who it's for but I think it's for retailers because I think that a lot of retailers are going to have more strict ingredient standards, especially in this like Make America Healthy Again era. So I think that a lot of these brands are kind of preparing for retailers to start to say no to food dyes and artificial flavors, which also not like saying that's probably a net good thing. Like,
sure.
It's just, yeah. But I think it's for retailers so that they don't risk being kicked off shelf for not meeting certain ingredient standards.
Right. But this just feels so performative and weird, especially just because it's like it's not the ethos of the brand.
What is the ethos of the brand? Sell things? Like
trash? I don't know. Like good trash. I think it's great trash.
Good trash.
Look, I also think that and we probably, if to discuss this further, we should probably bring on a food scientist and probably a psychologist and a dietitian. But people also consume stuff based off of color. Food and color have so much intrinsically attached to each other that like
Yeah.
I I don't want a naked flaming hot Cheeto.
You might not. Yeah, but I also, but again, I'm like, who is this for? I think my bigger gripe with this is the health halo because
Yeah,
people are going to see, like, wow, it's naked. It has
naked.
none of these like
It's
bad things
nude.
in it. It's still bad for you. There's
Oh, I
no
looked at the nutrition
benefit that's
facts.
like,
It's the same product, sans
no,
color.
this isn't a better for you product,
It's
but
a chip.
putting it in this like all white packaging with like simple and naked and these words that kind of feel like it sounds like it's like coming from a tree. No, it's still really unhealthy. And my
Yeah.
fear is for like more uneducated consumers to see this and be like, oh, actually, like maybe I can start eating more of this. And that health halo really concerns me. I would say that's like
Yeah.
my biggest issue with this because, like, sure, take out the diet, whatever, do what you have to do. I think you might lose the consumers who just thought you were fun. You're not
Yeah.
going to gain any new consumers from the people who are genuinely really concerned about their health because they
Right.
know this is an ultra processed food. But you might end up deceiving people in the process, and it's
Yeah.
icky.
It's icky. And look, I personally think Doritos should and need to exist. I think it's the way that they're a hot take. But my caveat to that is I think the issue with a lot of processed food and unhealthy foods in general, one, they're cheaper than everything, which is actually kind of concerning. Maybe they should be more expensive. But also the way that they're marketed and promoted, that is my issue with unhealthy food. I think unhealthy foods should exist. I think they're fun. I think they're indulgent. I think they're promoted as something you have so consistently and so much of, and they're not a treat. They are they become a staple the way that they're promoted and priced too, which is like the real issue. The fact that it might be easier and cheaper for me to buy a bag of Doritos than for me to buy an apple is really, really bad. And I don't think Doritos are bad intrinsically. I think it's fun. I fucking love a bag of Doritos. They're so good. The purple one in particular, that purple bag,
Yeah.
so good. I'm not going to have that more than once a week, more than maybe a few times a month. But I don't think they shouldn't exist. And I just don't think they should be marketed and priced the way that they are. I think that's the real issue.
Absolutely.
And then there's a
Absolutely.
whole issue with just education in general in this country, and then food education more broadly. Like we have said this before. Like my wife's a doctor, and she's not a nutritionist; she's a surgeon, but she sees the lack of nutrition education across her patient population, and it's bad. And like that's why we have these issues. It's not necessarily because the products are bad, it's because of the systems around it.
Right.
That is my rant on why Doritos should exist.
I love it. Yeah, Doritos should exist. Maybe this product shouldn't. I don't know. I think they might need to do it to stay on shelf. That's like my prediction is that a lot of retailers are going to start being anti-dye just because that is like, unfortunately, and we have a whole newsletter on this too, like why we think food dyes became like the biggest villain, even though the biggest villain is affordable access to healthy food doesn't exist. Dyes maybe also aren't good for you. Likely they are not, but they shouldn't be the biggest villain. But they have become. And so I think a lot of people are responding, a lot of companies are responding to that proactively in case they get kicked off shelf. And that's my guess here. But yeah, simply naked.
Naked. The no vowels is like killing me. It's crazy. Damn. There's always a lot of stuff happening. We always have a lot of opinions. If you want to hear more of the opinions, subscribe to our newsletter, Express Checkout. Follow us on Instagram at Express Checkout. Listen to this podcast, The Curious Consumer, wherever you find podcasts. We're probably elsewhere. We're in person. Text us if you know us. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening. We're covering it weekly. We're basically covering it daily at this point. Hit us up if you have any interesting stories. You can email us, hello@expresscheckout.co. You can DM us on Instagram. But thank you for listening. Catch you on the next one. Toodles.
Toodles.
Toodles. Bye.